Hi everybody, welcome to KBS Coatings Garage. I'm Brad Brackett with KBS Coatings. Hey, we're going to talk about a big issue, rust inside your tanks. No matter if it's an auto fuel tank, a motorcycle tank, what we're showing you here today, we got something for you. So let's go ahead and get started with the process. First thing we're going to talk about here at KBS Coatings Garage is, of course, safety. We definitely want to wear our gloves. Of course, they come in the kit. You get your gloves, stir stick, and instruction sheets, but definitely we want to wear our glasses too. So, our big thing is we talk about that, we have these openings. Of course, we could use the cap lid, like that if you want. We could also put a rubber plug in there if you want. Things like that. But the big thing is we talk about this pickup area on the bottom. So what I like to use is our KBS elastic tape. So the big trick there is just keeping a little tension on it, peel it around itself, stick it back. We can tuck that tip back under itself and then stretch this around there. It will seal that hole up very nice, as you can see, like that. Very easy. So what we want to do is start out with our KBS clean first. So what we'll do is open it up. We're going 1-to-1. Of course, with hot water is always going to work better. We get the cleaner in there. And then we'll come back with a quart of our hot water. There again, cold water will work fine, but hot water is always better, of course, when we're cutting any type of grease or fuel and stuff like that. So that's going to help us out a little bit more. We'll talk about some type of agitator, maybe nuts and bolts, put on a piece of wire. That way we can fish it out real easy. We'll put that inside the tank. Put our plastic on. Get that on there nice and tight. And then what we want to do, back and forth. So really what we're trying to do is keep all sides moist inside the tank for about a half hour to 45 minutes. Okay? When you use the AquaClean, you're going to have some suds in there. So you might want to rinse it out with water 3 or 4 different times to make sure you get all those suds out. And there again, if it rinses dirty, just go ahead and repeat with the AquaClean once again. Okay, so now we've got it, cleaned out from the AquaClean. Of course, you can still hear our agitator in there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move along to our Rust Blast. So the Rust Blast, there again, that's where we're getting our adhesion. That's a concentrated product. So, zinc with an acid in it. So you can see it's got a nice kind of a blue color to it. And there again, guys, if it's a tank that's painted, we can tape that off with some 4mm plastic or shrink wrap it or something so that we can keep the chemical off of it. Because there again, this has got an acid in it, so that will tarnish, the outside finish. Piece of plastic again, so we'll double that up on there, and then we'll put our lid back on. So what we want to do is shake it around, keep all sides moist, half hour, 45 minutes. That'll get the process started. And of course, we can just leave it on an angle like that, and come back maybe 10 minutes later and we'll switch it around to there. So move it around about every 10 minutes or so. So we have it in there about 45 minutes. Okay, now we've kept the Rust Blast moist inside the tank for that 45 minutes. So what we're going to do is we will dump this out into a container, but we won't dispose of it yet. We'll want to make sure we look up inside of there and see if we have a stubborn area that we may want to pour the Rust Blast back in there and work on that stubborn area again. So we want to make sure that we're doing a good job with the product. So what we'll do is dump this into the bucket. And right away you can see all that rusty stuff that comes out of there. So there again, the Rust Blast, what it's going to do is going to etch the product in there. It's also got a zinc in it, so the zinc's going to give us a temporary rust protection. That'll keep our flash rust back for 30 days. So maybe if something comes up and you can't come back and put the sealer in, within the next few days, that'll keep the flash rust back, so you won't have to worry about that. Also promotes good adhesion there too for you. Okay, so we'll take a look inside of there with our light. And oh yeah, that's definitely done the job of what we're looking to do. So that's, it's got the metal all prepped there. So what we'll do now is, of course, we want to rinse it out. So just dump some water in here. And we'll just put the lid back on it, temporary. Do a little shake and rinse. And then of course, we'll dump that into the bucket too, and make sure that we dispose of all our chemicals correctly. That, you know, every county, every state has something a little different, so we want to make sure we're doing the right thing with that. Look inside. Yeah, you know, there's nothing going on in there that shouldn't be as far as any, you know, rusty, stubborn spots. So what we're going to do now is, after we've rinsed it, of course, you know, such a confined area, we want to make it dry inside of there, because there again, the sealer itself is a single component, so moisture inside of there would catalyze it. So what we want to do is take a heat gun. Maybe you can steal your wife's hair dryer. She might not like it, but that'll work good for you too. And basically put inside, turn it on, and get it dry. Okay, you've seen us use the KBS Clean as far as getting out any varnish and everything. We showed you the rust blast as far as the way it preps it and removes the rust out of there so we can get adhesion. And we showed you how we force air fed it as far as with a heat gun or a hair dryer to express our drying time in there. But always wait until the next day before we do the sealer inside to make sure it's bone dry inside of there. So what we'll do is we'll get ready to get our sealer in. So there again, we're messing with the sealer, so we want to make sure we got our gloves on. Definitely get your glasses on. I'm going to break out our tank sealer and get it opened up. And of course, you know, the gold standard tank sealer is a single component. There's no catalyst in it. So what we want to do is stir it up. You'll feel the solids on the bottom. We want to make it look one consistent color. It'll stir up fairly easily, fairly quickly. Stir it up real well. Pretty much well there, and you can see the consistency of the product. It will leach into those pinch weld seams. So what I've done, I made myself a nice little clean filter or filler here so that we can get it inside the tank. Make sure it's all nice and stirred. And of course, this 8-ounce can, it'll do up to 5 gallons. So we'll go ahead and add that to it. Of course, you can see I put a piece of cardboard down. We want to make sure, you know, if we get a little drips or something on your bench, because this product, if you don't get it off directly before it cures, it's not going to come off of there. So what we do is, now we got that sealer down in there. What I'll do is take the funnel, put it over inside, let it drain the rest of it out of there. I checked my plug on the bottom, make sure it was still good. Also put a piece of cellophane over across the cap again and put it on. And then what we want to do is just roll the tank so that we can get that down in those pinch weld seams. And we want to just keep it moving. So basically, we've rolled our tank around for about that 45 minutes to an hour. We're going to check our coverage inside, see what we got. And we've done real well. I mean, it covers so well, it's very easy to do. So what we'll do, you know, we don't want this to puddle or pool inside of there. So what we'll do is just dump out our excess the best we can into the cans so we can dispose of it correctly. And there again, you can see the consistency. It's got a little thicker since it's been in there, since it's been introduced to the atmosphere. So what we want to do is just not let it pool in there. That's such a big thing, because that's where you start getting that gassing and the little bubbles inside there, because you've got the product that's just laying in one area and the solvent can't get out of it, so it creates a bunch of little pinholes. So what you want to do is just take your time, let this drain out for a few minutes. So we've got that dumped out. So what we want to do, we'll wipe off our little drip we have around the edge there, and we'll just roll it there again about every 5-10 minutes to make sure that we don't let no puddling go on inside of there so it gasses on us. So we've showed you our 3-step system, how to take care of cleaning and prepping and sealing your tank. You know, this nice cutout shows you everything of the process we went through. And we started with our KBS clean to get out on old fuel, and of course our rust blast has taken us to this where it's prepped that metal, and our gold standard tank sealer sealed it up. That's a permanent coating. We're not a liner. Set up for all those fuels today, ethanol mixtures, biodiesel, kerosene, all those things will not hurt this product. We can, after we drain this, then we can always install it 24 hours later. But we want to wait up to 5 days before we put fuel in it. And the reason is that the product has to vapor out. So such a confined area, it takes slow time. So remember, this is a restoration product. Take your time, stick to the instructions. Of course, if you have any questions, you can call us at our 800 number. We run that website too where you can ask your questions there. So don't ever hesitate. Anything that we can do for you to help you out with your restoration products at home. And always remember, KBS Coatings, rust stops here.